What is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another Optc video, and in today's video we're taking a look at the KIZUNA Clash vs Doflamingo that will be coming out very soon, actually, over here on the global side of the game. So in today's video I do have 4 teams for you guys for each variation. I do have 2 free-to-play teams, one that can use a friend Croc and one that uses just another powerful legend of your choice kind of thing. I do have a high-ticket team. I did manage to get my hands on Croc. I did 2 more multis after my summons. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave a little card at the top of the video here for you guys and a link in the description. But we did do 2 more multis after our 4 multis, and we actually got pretty lucky and managed to pick him up on the recommended character. So I do have a double Croc team for you guys. And then we have like a big damage team. So a team that can sort of output a lot of damage for you cool cats, or you crazy cats, I should say, that like to go very high in KIZUNAs to try and get the most amount of drops. So let's take a look at this KIZUNA and what's going on. So we have some cotton candy, we have some pistols in the boxes. The pistols are basically just like level up items, but there is the crystal skulls for the new 6+ that is coming over here on global, and they are continuing this trend of 6+s in KIZUNA boxes. Now, I'm not like a big fan of it myself, mainly because it makes all those other skulls that you get from ambushes pretty much redundant nowadays, and it means you guys have to get to sort of like box 7, as the skulls are available between box 2 to 7. So, look, if you guys want to adopt something like the Suicide Strat or something like that, but it just sort of means that you guys need to be playing KIZUNA to get your hands on this. This Onami's has a very good 6+. Doflamingo can be max limit broken between box 2 to 6, and Sakazuki and Borsalino exchange materials are available in box 3 to 6. So we can finally finish off Sakazuki, Borsalino, very nice. They are coming to the shop as well as Beej, Basil Hawkins, and Kid. They're all coming to the shop. I would definitely pick up that Kid if you're missing him. He's a very good KIZUNA unit. There's also Proof of Friendships, and that's about it. There's some boosted units, obviously. We have Crocodile, the free-to-play Jinbei, and then a whole bunch of other units as well, which is really nice. The Onami, I imagine her 6+ and her 6-star will both be boosted. I imagine, but nevertheless, it is what it is. Besides that, you've just got your Akainus, your Luffy's, your Sengokus, all the new batch, basically, the Whitebeard free-to-play units, all those sort of types of characters. And obviously, you still can't bring Shiryu, Kuma, all those blow-away characters that can kind of choose the content. But let's take a look at what the actual character Doflamingo does. He's a pretty good unit. So, Doflamingo will boost the attack of driven characters by 3.5 and their HP by 1.25. Shout out to the Optc database. I will leave a link in the description, obviously. His Sailor makes quick orbs beneficial for driven units, as he is a driven slasher. A quick driven slasher, actually, so he works very well with the new Versa Akainu. If your captain is a driven character, he boosts base attack of driven and slashes by 75, so very nice crewmate abilities, if I do say so myself. He goes down to 12 turns with his limit break, which obviously you guys will have access to, and he deals 100 times his character's attack in typeless damage to all enemies, which is really good for supports. He changes adjacent orbs into matching orbs and reduces threshold and increased defense by 5 turns, so nice little combination of defensive effects that he does remove as well. And if your HP is above 70% when the special is activated, he's going to extend the duration of a chain lock, chain limit, or chain boundary debuff by 1 turn. I think that's meant to say buffs. Yeah, I think it's meant to say buffs. Basically, what it's used for is just to extend Akainu's 3 point whatever chain lock from 2 turns into 3 turns. He, with his limit break, he gets... what does he get? He gets Enrage and reduced damage, or increased damage in Taken. And he also has pinch healing. Very interesting that he gets 50% pinch healing. Well, if you're below 50%, he will get pinch healing. So it's pretty good pinch healing, 1.5 times his recovery. So definitely slap some recovery candy on this guy. And he boosts his attack by 200 after taking damage. His support is just stats, which is pretty dookie. And then in Rumble, he is going to give a level 5 attack buff and level 2 defense up to quick characters. And then his special basically just targets strength units for debuffing. 100% chance to inflict paralysis for 2 enemies for 20 seconds. Level 3 debuff down. Defense down debuff. Level 4 speed down and level 5 attack down to strength units. So pretty good at like nerfing the unit. 100% chance to special to paralyze is actually pretty decent. So I definitely farm this guy up as he is a free-to-play unit. And with that said, let's hop into the content now. Alright, so over here on the subreddit, and shout out to Fate of Muffins in particular for the information provided. I will leave a link to the subreddit in the description below, but Fate of Muffins, if you're watching, please let yourself know in the comment section below. I'd love to give you the proper credit. But on the Dex variation, we come up against Mihawk and then Doflamingo. So at the start of the fight, our driven, cerebral, and free spirit characters get their cooldowns. On stage 2, Mihawk is going to give us a full board of badly matching orbs and locks those orbs, as well as having a 4-turn 12 hit barrier. On stage 3, we come up against Doflamingo. He has 99 turns of poison, defense out, and delay immunity, which is not full immunity, which is really, really nice. There's 99 turns of normal attacks only. He silences the top and bottom row for 4 turns, so 4 turns of special blind, and then gives us 6 turns of attack down. After level 30 is stereotypically where we see the mechanic changes, and he's actually going to rewind our special by 1 turn. Or it might be 2 and then goes down to 1 with preemptives. But either way, you just need to roll your specials back by 1 turn. So for the first team I have for you guys, it is a free-to-play team that utilizes a friend versus Ace. So our captain for this team is actually Marco and Ace. I did have a Treasure Map Ace team built for you guys. So if you don't have Marco and Ace for whatever reason, you can use Treasure Map Ace. He's another really good option. Their special is basically just a massive attack boost for this entire team, as well as their captain ability becoming a 3.75 times captain for strength units. So that's really, really nice. The next unit on this team is we have the new Whitebeard. This Whitebeard is our color affinity booster. He does color affinity to Powerhouse and Free Spirit units. He's also boosted, but unfortunately for us, he's only really getting a buff under our Verse Ace. He's not getting a buff from under Marco and Ace, but look, it is what it is. He's a color affinity booster and he works really, really nicely. You could actually use something like Jinbei as well. If you're not actually, no, you can't because we got this Jinbei, never mind. If there's another better color affinity booster, let me know in the comment section below, but from my search mechanics, I couldn't find anyone that was a strength unit anyway that was free to play. So if you guys have another color affinity booster like Super Type Sabo, you could easily run Super Type Sabo as your captain and then drop Marco and Ace. That's another option for you guys. This is the farmable Jinbei. Make sure to farm him up. You can get him done in like 3 runs. It's super easy. His special changes block and unfavorable slots to matching, as well as remove Special Blind and Threshold by 4 turns. So he's going to rotate our orbs on the final stage, as well as remove the Special Blind. He has the Sailor to remove Special Blind on himself as well, so it's really, really nice, this particular unit, for all of the stages, except for one, actually, and we'll touch on that when we get to it. But the beautiful thing about using a Verse Ace captain as well is he makes Strength, Dex, and Quick orbs matching for the entire team, so we're going to have that available to us. Because once we get unfavorable orbs and they get locked, they're just going to be matching orbs anyway. We do have the Pirate Rumble Usopp to remove 5 turns of attack down. He is another option to give cooldowns, but obviously by bringing a friend versus Ace, we don't have to worry about that. And with the support of Arena Franosuke, we can actually remove 7 turns of attack down. So the 6 turns of attack down is totally covered with this particular free-to-play team, so it works very, very nicely. The final unit we have on this team is Luffy, the free-to-play, let's go to the Pirate Festival, Pizza Luffy. Now, this guy's literally only here because he's a chain buffer. But like I said, if you have Super Type Sabo, you can easily use something like that, as that way we'll start at a 3 times chain lock, and this whole team is built around back-ended damage, so we just want to be hitting with that Verse Ace last to get the maximum amount of damage. Ideally, on the Mihawk stage, you actually want to farm up some Strength, Dex, and Quick orbs, or on the first and the second stage, I should say. That way you'll actually have the versatility available for you guys on the final stage and get that extra 2 times conditional boost, as well as a 2.5 times orb and a chain lock. Moving on to the next team now, we are using a friend Crocodile, Sir Crocodile, the Kizuna Rare recruit, and our captain for this particular team is Treasure Map Kid. Now, Treasure Map Kid's main, like the reason he's here, is he's actually a strength character's attack boost by 3.75 as captain, and then his special actually rotates unfavorable orbs into character's own type. That's the only reason we're using Kid. 3.75 for a free-to-play unit is actually very, very nice. He won't be boosting the whole team, but very, very similar to the last team. It's all back-ended damage, so our strength units are going to be hitting fairly hard. As I mentioned, we do want to be using a friend Crocodile. Crocodile is going to remove the attack down and give us color affinity to cerebral and driven units, as this whole team is cerebral driven. We have Weevil on this team. He's going to be our dedicated attack booster, as well as another option for rotating unfavorable slots as well. He's also going to roll our specials forward as well, so after stage 30, he's going to be really, really nice. Next, we've got Jinbei. Jinbei, that free-to-play unit we spoke about on the previous team, he's basically here to remove Special Blind, which is great. Make sure to farm him up. Next, we've got Chopper. Chopper's our attack booster for this team. He was out in the Whole Cake Island event, and he's a 1.75 times attack boost, provided our captain is Strength or Psi. And because Kid is, we get that attack boost, which is really nice. And then finally, we have Doflamingo and Treble. So Doflamingo and Treble, they have a very, very good switch ability, which actually makes Strength and Dex orbs beneficial. Now, because we get unfavorable slots on turn 2, we can actually use their special to give ourselves a 2.75 times chain lock, and then we can get the carryover effect of the 3.25 as long as we hit 4 perfects. Now, we're definitely hitting 4 perfects because there is a 12 hit barrier, so we're definitely hitting with 4 characters anyway. So just make sure that you guys are hitting your perfects, so that way you can get that carryover effect. They also allow us to freely swap orbs. So what we can actually do, we can actually use their special, change whatever orbs we want, and then we can just use the Kid special after that, as Kid will rotate unfavorable slots. So just make sure you're just swapping like the orbs between your strength units, and then that way you can turn them all into matching with Kid, or you can use Kid first and then just rotate them around, whatever works for you guys. But just make sure that you are the strength variation of Doflamingo and Treble, so that way you can get more damage output on the final stage. But you're only in them for 2 turns, so either way it'll be fine. On to the next team, we are looking at getting the most amount of tickets. So this team uses double Croc. Now, Croc's obviously built for all of these stages. His special is going to remove 6 turns of attack down and despair and defense up. And then if the captain is driven or cerebral, which this team is, because we have Croc as our captain, we get a 2 times color affinity boost. With 2 Crocs, it's going to work quite nicely. That way we can get color affinity on stage 2 and then stage 3, as Croc is super effective against all types. Next, we've got Jinbei once again, special blind removal. Just remember the middle slot isn't special blinded, so if you don't want to use this Jinbei or things start getting very, very hard, we can actually replace him easy peasy. We've got Kaido on this team. Kaido is actually our attack booster for this particular team. Kaido is really, really great because he can give a 2.25 times attack boost and then carry it into a 3 times attack boost in the final stage. If you guys are missing Croc as well, you could easily do something like this and then replace Croc with any other attack booster as well as an attack down remover. Or you can just easily bring a friend Crocodile as well, and then bring something like Marco and Ace as your other unit there to actually give yourselves an attack boost. Next, we've got Weevil once again. He's basically here to roll our specials forward, as well as give us an orb boost, which is great, as we are using Kaido for an attack boost. Next, we've got Mihawk and Perona. Because there's no full immunity here, we can actually get their conditional boost, and with the support of V1 Zoro, we can get a chain lock for 2.5 for 2 turns. So not the greatest chain lock in the world, but it's still something, and it still works very, very cool. So that's going to be my big ticket team. It should work fairly well. We do have a Shura on Kaido just so he's hitting a little bit harder. But other than that, this team should work very, very well. It has a chain lock, has conditional boost. It has specials rolled forward. It removes all the effects and has a nice attack and orb boost as well. So that's my high point boosted team, and that's the one that I'll most likely be using for most of the fight. I will be testing the teams that use the Croc Friends and the big damage team, especially once we get to level 30. I'll be testing that big damage team, but for this particular variation, this is the team that I'm rocking. So we are using Verse Ace, and we will be using a Super Type Sabo as our friend captain, mainly because Super Type Sabo gives the chain buff mechanic, as well as giving us color affinity for 2 stages, as well as giving us the chain multiplier buff as Ace triggers his super typing. We have Verse Ace as our captain. He has the amazing Verse effect for another conditional boost as well as being a chain locker and an orb booster for this particular team, which is great, as well as 5 times captain's man. You can't go past them. The reason I'm using Verse Ace as my captain, so we have access to Sabo and Koala. They're at 2.25 times attack boost, as well as rotating unfavorable slots into matching. So ideally, we want to use their special before we use Verse Ace. That way, we can get the 2.5 to 35 times chain lock. We have Jinbei once again for special blind removal. When things start getting a little bit tricky, or if you guys want to output more damage, you can easily replace him with the new Luffy that came out with Verse Ace and Verse Akainu, as he will remove special blinds. We are using the Usopp combination once again to remove the attack down. That way we can actually get rid of 7 turns, which is really nice, as well as having a free spirit strength unit. And then finally we have Odin. Now Odin's literally only on this team to give us Wano orbs. Other than that, he literally has no other purpose. Wano orbs is just going to allow us to do a little bit more damage, and because we already have a conditional boost with Verse Ace, plus we have the chain locking captain, we have the chain lock mechanic, we have all those shenanigans working for us, that this particular team just really didn't need any other buffs besides getting Wano orbs. So that's the big damage team. All 4 teams should work very, very well. But like I said, we will be testing them tomorrow when KIZUNA does drop. So let's move on to the next variation now. Alright, so moving on to the strength variation now, we come up against Boa and Doflamingo. At the beginning of the fight, we're going to get our specials cooldown for our strength, dex, and quick characters. And then Boa is going to, on stage 2, is going to put up 4 turns of damage reduction. On stage 3, we come up against Doflamingo, who has 99 turns of poison, defense down, and delay immunity. But he is not immune to stuff like burn or double damage, which is really, really nice. He has 99 turns of normal attacks only, and then changes all orbs into block orbs, as well as putting up 5 turns of defense up. And after level 30, gives us 8 turns of blind on our top and bottom rows. So That'll go down to 5 turns, so make sure you have a bind remover in your middle slots if you are one of those crazy cats that likes to go past level 30. But the first team I have for you guys utilizes a friend versus Akainu and is completely free to play. So our captain is Treasure Map Queen for this team. Queen is a 3.75 times attack boost to quick units, which is great, as well as removing 5 turns of damage reduction. So we can use his special on stage 2 against Boa to remove the damage reduction, and Bob's your uncle, we should be gold there. We've got Lin Lin as our attack booster on this team. Make sure to put her in the middle slot, as with her special, she can remove bind as well. So we have 6 turns of bind removal, as well as giving us a 2.25 times attack boost to our driven and powerhouse units, which this whole team is, which is really, really nice. But she's also going to give recovery orbs as well, so make sure you guys are running the Zunisha ship to make those orbs matching. We have Jinbei here. Jinbei is going to be our block orb manipulator. You can easily replace him with anyone that's a quick unit if you want more damage, as utilizing a friend versus Akainu means that we are going to actually be able to rotate those block orbs anyway. Jack can remove 1 or 2 turns of defense up, and then Oars can remove 4 turns of defense up. With our Akainu friend captain, we have an orb boost, we have a chain lock, we have an attack boost, we have color affinity. No, we don't have color affinity, I lied. That's probably the only thing this team is missing. So if you want more damage, you can easily replace Jinbei on this team with another color affinity booster that is either powerhouse or driven. As long as you do sort of satisfy those sort of requirements, you should be good to go. So we'll have a quick gander here. Let's see if there's anything that we can use for this particular team. You can use something like Miguel and Hannibal. That's a free-to-play option for you guys. You do have something like Clash Zoro is another very good option for color affinity as well. And with that, you should be in pretty good stead. You have this Luffy as well. This Treasure Map Luffy is another option. If you guys are just looking for more damage, that is. So that was the first team that uses versus Akainu. The next Queen team actually uses a friend, Croc. So with Croc, we can actually get color affinity. We have a 5 times captain to our cerebral and our driven units, which this whole particular team is, as well as him removing the defense up. Queen, once again, 3.75 times attack boost to quick units, which this whole team isn't, but the 3.75 is just such a nice boost that we are going to be able to get away with it by attacking with our quick units last. We have a bind remover with Robbie. She removes 3 turns of that, and we can also remove 2 more turns with the Straw Hat support, removing 2 turns of bind, despair, or paralysis. We've got Jinbei on this team. He's our block orb manipulator, so on this team he's actually essential. We've got King for an attack boost to our quick units, 2.25 after hitting 12 hits. And then we've got Bellamy for an orb boost. Now, Bellamy you can actually use twice. You can use him on stage 2 and stage 3 as he has double special activation. So that's a big reason why I actually picked him over someone else. But I imagine you could probably find a stronger orb booster for this team. With a friend Crocodile, you've basically got all the boosts except for a chain lock. Other than that, you've pretty much covered all bases. If you do find a way to put a chain locker on this particular team, just remember that King actually removes chain lock. But the idea is you want to attack with Jinbei, then Croc, then Robbie, and then you start attacking with your driven units. So that way you can just output more damage with the back-ended damage that King can provide. Both of these teams are revolve around back-ended damage, so just be mindful of that as well. Moving on to the high points team now, we are using a double Croc team. So Croc on this particular Kizuna is a 5 times captain, as you guys know. And his special is here to remove defense up, as well as be our color affinity booster. We can use his special on turn 2, and then we can use it again on stage 3. And once things start to get harder, I will start to sort of change the team. But the whole team is cerebral based. With Croc, we do have access to the Mr. 1 support, which is going to give us a chain buff mechanic. So starting the chain multiplier by 0.7, as well as removing damage reduction and paralysis. But that's not really why we're utilizing his... well, actually, sorry, we are utilizing his special on stage... what's it called? On stage 2 to remove the 4 turns of damage reduction. So that way we can use his special on stage 2, and then we can use the other one, our friend captain, on stage 3. Jinbei's here for block orb manipulation, which is great for the final stage. And then we've just got some other options here as well. So now that I'm actually looking at this... Oh, sorry. We're actually going to use the friend Crocodile, and we're going to use Neptune to actually remove the defense up. Or the damage reduction, I should say. Neptune's great as he can remove damage reduction, but you can also put Queen on this particular team if you are looking for that option. If the enemy doesn't blow away positive buffs when we move into the final stage, I will swap Neptune. But I just wanted to show you guys there were some other options. That way, when we use Croc, we can actually get the chain buff mechanic. Otherwise, you could easily replace Neptune on this team with something else. We've got the V2 waifus. They're going to give us an orb and attack boost, as well as give us that chain multiplier limit, and then we can partner that up with Sugar to turn everyone into bears, bypass barriers, and that way we don't even have to worry about the bind as well. But with, that should actually be like, that. But with, VV Rebecca removing bind as well, it's not that big of an issue, but later down the track, if we want to, we can easily remove Neptune and VV Becca and just replace them with some better attack boosters. But for the meantime, this should work fine. Sugar as your captain is another option for high damage. Sugar is just amazing for Kizuna, and that's a big reason why I wanted to include this particular team, the Cerebral-based team, but I did have some ideas, some driven alternatives that might do some more damage, but stay tuned for the playthrough for that. Moving on to the big damage team now, we are utilizing Versa Akainu. Now, with this particular team, it is designed to be used with a friend, Crocodile. So, Crocodile can actually remove the defense up on the final stage, which is really, really good. And with the rest of this team, we've basically got buffs under the sun. We've got Akainu here. Akainu can rotate the block odds, give us an orb boost, and give us a chain lock. We've got Queen to remove damage reduction on stage 2. We've got Smoker as an attack booster, 2.5 attack, which is great. And then we've got the new Sengoku, who's actually boosted to remove bind as well. So make sure he's in your middle rows. Finally, I have included Jinbei here, but if you guys want to output more damage and you have access to him, you want to really add on super type Kaido. Because there's no full immunity, Kaido's double attack buff will actually be in full flight. And with that, we can actually output a lot more damage. Now, ideally, we actually don't want that ship. We want the Mama Shanta. That's very important. I always forget to change my ships when I'm doing these team building videos, and you almost got me there. But Kaido is going to allow you to do 2 times damage, and with that, this team has so much going for it that it's not even funny. 2 times color affinity, 2.5 orbs, 2.5 attack, removes the defensive buffs, has double damage, and it just works wonders with a lot of very, very strong units. So that's the big damage team. Let's move on to the final variation now. Alright, so moving on to the final variation, we come up against the Quick Doflamingo. Now, against Quick Doflamingo, we come up against Moria on stage 2 and Doflamingo stage 3. Our Dex, Psi, and Int units get cooldowns, as well as on stage 2 having 4 turns of Despair. So that should go down to 1 turn respective to your sockets. Make sure to have those sockets maxed out. On stage 3, we come up against Doflamingo, who has 99 turns of full immunity this time. First time against this Kizuna, we have full immunity. 99 turns of normal attacks only. We get 8 turns of Despair, which will go down to 5 turns. And there's 4 turns of Threshold. After stage 30, we're going to get a Paralysis, and I'm pretty sure it's something like 6 turns of Paralysis. So just be ready for that. So the first free-to-play team that I have for you guys is utilizing a friend captain, Kid. Now, I did want to go with Kid, as sort of Kid's been out for a very long time, but you can sort of tweak this team a little bit to make it viable for what's his name? Zoro as well. Super type Zoro would be another really good option. But the captain for this team is the Onami and Orobi, the Kizuna unit that did come out alongside King in the last Kizuna. Their special can remove paralysis by 6 turns, which is really, really nice, as well as being a 2 times orb boost for the entire crew. Their captain ability is a 3 times attack boost to the entire crew, as well as making deck slots have matching slot effects. So they're really here just because they were the sort of the best thing that I could find as a captain. I'm pretty sure that was sort of the best thing that I could sort of weasel out in terms of 3 times, as well as being able to get all of the defects down. We have Jinbei on this team. Jinbei obviously pops up on all teams. He removes 4 turns of Threshold, which is great. And then we have a chain lock with Viola and Rebecca. Because we start as a Dex unit, actually I don't think it matters because both of them, Dex and Int both get cooldowns. So that way we have access to their special, giving us a chain lock on the final stage. Whitebeard is here, as Whitebeard can actually remove Despair. Now, Whitebeard has double special activation, basically. Well, he doesn't, but he gets 6 turns every time someone else uses a special. But he's also a color affinity booster. So the way we want to make this team work is actually use Whitebeard on turn 2. That way we can get rid of the 1 turn of Despair, and then with the combination of Whitebeard and Kobe, we can get an attack boost, we can get color affinity, and we can remove all the Despair, or 6 turns of Despair. Onami and Robin are going to remove the paralysis, and then we can get an attack boost. We want an attack or boost. So this team actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it actually works fine with both Zoro or Kid. Kid's great because you can get a full board of orbs with his super typing. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't think we actually have access to his super typing. Yeah, I don't think we do. You might have to tweak the team a little bit to sort of get access to that. You could use something like Kamizo. That could be an option for you guys as well. But this team sort of built for like either Kid or Zoro should work fine. The next team uses a Croc friend captain. I don't think this team works with a Croc friend captain. It's close to it, but it's just a little bit off. So for the next free-to-play team, we are using a very, very similar setup. We do have Nami and Robin once again. They're here for paralysis removal as well as being an orb booster. We've got Jinbei for the threshold. We have Viola Rebecca for the chain lock. And we have Kobe for our attack boost again, as well as removing Despair. The big difference to this particular team is we do need to use Kobe on stage 2, and then we can use Croc to remove the rest of the Despair on the final stage. With that, we have an attack boost from our Hiyori unit as well. And with that, we've pretty much just covered all bases. We've removed both defenses, Despairs. But the idea of this team is to be used with a friend Croc if you guys have it. So the only thing you need to change is Whitebeard and Hiyori. That's literally the only difference. But both teams should work fine. Moving on to the big points team now, we are using double Croc. Croc can remove Despair by 6 turns, so we can use him on stage 2 and we can use him on stage 3. We also get color affinity in because he's super effective against all types. It works very, very nicely. Jinbei can remove Threshold once again. We have Nami and Robin here. Nami and Robin are our paralysis removal as well as our 2.5 times orb boost. On this particular team, it works very, very nicely as they are a dedicated orb boost as well as removing paralysis later on. We've got Kid for our 2.5 times attack boost, and then we've actually got Doffy and Treble once again to be our chain locker. We can use the Doffy Treble special on stage 2 and then get the carryover effect, provided we aren't doing too much damage. Otherwise, I will sort of have a look and sort of change that to probably Viola and Rebecca once again, as they're probably the best sort of chain locker. You do have access to like Rayleigh and stuff too, if you do want that option. But I figured the 3.25 is the highest, but I won't know until I test it to see how much damage output we actually have on stage 2. Moving on to the final team now, the big damage team. We are looking at utilizing a Zoro captain with a friend Kid. We do have Kid on this particular team as well. Which I probably will look at taking off, just because if we do manage to find a friend captain Kid, he will be our attack booster. We can get the bomb slots. We have the 5 times captains with both of these units. We will just need to look at a way to sort of drop Zoro's HP by utilizing like Kamizo or something like that. Zoro's a great captain, 5 times attack, massive orb boost as well. Kid is an attack booster, so we do want to bring him as a friend captain. We have Croc for his chain locking, the Clash Croc. He starts at 2 times and ends at 35. We've got Nami and Robin once again. They can be our paralysis and our orb booster. And then with a friend Kid, we've got the attack boost as well. We've got the support of Mr. 1 on Croc as well, so we get the 0.7 chain boost as well. So this particular team should have heaps and heaps of damage. I don't imagine it having any issues whatsoever. There is no way of getting preemptives in terms of conditional boosts for this particular team either, as there is full immunity. So we might have to have a look at a way of sort of just like tweaking this team a little bit, but using the Zoro and Kid combo, we can actually get access to both their super typings, which will just work really, really nicely. If we need to, we will just sort of bring another Zoro or something like that, or find a way to sort of probably replace Kid actually, and just find someone that can sort of cut our HP drastically. But I'll sort of have to have a look into that, as the only one I can really think of off the top of my head would be something like Kamizo, or nah, Shiki's a quick unit. Yeah, off the top of my head, all I can think of is Kamizo, but I will sort of look into that to make sure that we get Zoro's 5 times captain. But otherwise, you can always just bring like Kid as well. Like it's not really going to be that much of an issue. But that's going to wrap up this video today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, make sure to go down there and belt that like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lates!